Welcome back to another video, guys. This one is a little bit different. We're going to be post-commentating this race, as kind of jumped in this one at the last moment. John74 was doing a birthday stream the other day, and it was his last race, and there wasn't many people entered, so I thought, you know what, let's jump in, because I know we'll be in the same race as John. So here we are in the production car challenge series. We're going to be driving the Mazda MX-5s in this one at Imola, and as you can see, it is very, very wet indeed. We have qualified 2 places behind John here. John has actually qualified in P5. And we've left a gap to the faster cars in front, but away we go now. I got caught out a little bit, so we've actually lost a couple of positions. But this is genuinely my first ever wet race on iRacing. And boy, oh boy, it was quite the experience. But here we are going very slowly into the final corners here. I haven't even started the lap, and you can just hear how much the car is sliding and aquaplaning around on the track. There is that much water on track. But here we go to cross the start finish line to start the race, and we're going to start this one now in P7. I've been already lost a place before we've crossed the line. Lost a place there to Michael, but away we go. And like I said, the conditions here are just absolutely brutal. The forecast was light rain and drizzle, but you can just see in some of these corners how much water there is actually standing on the track, making it very, very difficult indeed. So for a start, we're just going to concentrate on tiptoeing around the track here, making our way through it. Hopefully we can survive. But not only have we got to worry about the track conditions, we've also got to keep in mind that the spray when we get behind cars is going to impact our visibility, as once again we're just massively sliding around Villeneuve there. And you'll see here on the inside of Tosa, there's just big streams of water. You got to stay away from those racing lines as much as you can, just to try and get that traction and get the car slowed down. It's really the key to wet weather racing. But like I said, the very first race this is in the wet, and we're settling into it quite nicely. John is a couple of cars ahead at this point. Just trying to modulate the throttle, not be too greedy on power. Nice and gently does it. But this is like where the water is standing, the bottom of Aqua Minerale too. Just look here as we turn into this one. There's just a stream of water, so much water. If you get in that puddle, the car just really struggled to pull away. So yeah, trying to find a good line through there may be interesting as we get through this race. But slightly braking on the racing line there, and you could see the car was trying to get away from us as we sort of slide on that really slippy rubber that gets even more slippery in these sorts of conditions. But coming now down towards the end of the first lap. Again, just trying to nice and gently on the brakes, not be too aggressive on the steering. And lap 1 in these treacherous conditions is now complete. Currently at 55% precipitation, and the track is very wet with a 19-degree track temperature at the moment. It's a case of sort of follow the spray as we go. So just trying not to be too greedy on the throttle applications. We do a little bit there and just catch the slide as we go through the puddle and start aquaplaning across the track. But we're about a second now behind the car in front, as we've got one of the Toyotas here who's had a bit of a moment. So unfortunately that's going to put me behind. I'm going to see if we can go down the inside here. Obviously don't get too close to the curbs here because of that massive puddle on the middle inside of Tosa. Sorry, not the middle, the inside. But Rich is now behind us. Got a 2-second gap to the next Mazda behind of Javier. So we're going to chase down Michael here, who is Lost a bit of ground too because of that Toyota. 2.6 seconds is the gap. And there's a slow Toyota there who's rejoining right in front of John, unfortunately. And John is losing bodywork as we can't find a way past him at this moment in time. The Toyota's losing some bodywork as well. And I think, unfortunately for John, that caused him to actually had some terminal damage there. One of his wheels was completely broken. So there was another Mazda there out wide in Aqua Minerale, as the Toyota here of Luke Reed is really struggling at this point. Got another car in front of us. That's one of the BMWs of Christopher Ward. We're going to go past him, but of course he's in the fastest class here, so it'll only be a matter of time before he comes back past us. But this is the scary part, I think, of the rain racing, is getting close to a car behind in the spray. At this point, Luke's not even got any brake lights. So I didn't even know where he was braking at that point. Sometimes when you're following in the spray, you can kind of navigate and get a bit of an idea of where everybody is for the brake lights. But yeah, Luke's just got no lights at all there at the back as the BMW there of Christopher comes through and past him. We actually dip a wheel onto the painted surface. There's a little green painted strip there right next to the wall, and the minute we touched that, the car just wanted to lose control. So we did manage to catch it, thankfully. As trying to pick our way through here, we've got the Mazda of Javier now right on the back of us here, 0.2 of a second. As Luke is really looks like he's struggling in that Toyota. We go to the inside, so at least we've got a little bit of visibility here. We're not going to try and make a move though. Not going to lunge one up the inside. Again, we try to get the power down, but then lift off as Javier now is approaching. Going to try and take us on the outside. He does indeed. He's got a lot more speed there. He's probably off the racing line there and probably got a bit more traction than the rest of us. That's why we were struggling, but we're down to 6th place again now, having lost that position. As Luke get it massively wrong. Don't know if he caught the grass there or if he just overdid it on the crest and the car changed its weight as it was going over the crest and he lost control. But fortunately for Luke, he's dropped it. But we've a bit of a gap's emerged here now. We've got 2.6 to Javier in front, who clearly looks a lot faster than we are. We try and put the power down through the puddle there and the Aqua Minerale too. But Bart behind, we've got a 5-second gap here. So we're a little bit comfortable at this moment in time. But unfortunately, we've made a cardinal mistake and we've braked on the racing line here. And we've lost it in the middle of the corner. So Bart is going to come past us here. He takes evasive action over the grass to avoid contact with us. But unfortunately, we lost the place there down to P7. So we need to sort of try and see if we can get our head back a little bit in this one. Obviously, we've built a 5-second gap to Bart behind, so we know we are quicker than him. We can be much quicker. Let's take it nice and steady here through. I think this is Ravazza. Final corners onto the long straight. So comfortable gap behind at 4.7 seconds to Richard in the Toyota behind. So now we can just focus our attention all forwards, trying to take that position back from Bart here. As you can see, the spray. Got a rough idea of where I need to brake as the car tries to step out a little bit under braking. Really just all about managing throttle, brakes and steering as we get a massive slide. We're trying to get a little bit greedy and get a bit more time back off Bart there. Unfortunately, we lose the car, but we do catch it, keep it facing forward, which is the main thing. Through Villeneuve we go. Nice and steady. We took a bit of curb, which didn't affect us. Sometimes you've got to be careful of some of the curbs. They can catch you out in these wet weather conditions. But coming up to roughly half distance here in this race, and honestly, for a first attempt in a wet race, we have done really, really well. We've only dropped it that one time so far, and we're still competing here with Bart in front. Starting to feel a little bit more comfortable here on some of the lines as well. Like I said at the start of the video, it was a last minute decision as we massive slides, last minute decision to jump in this one. And I think there was literally 1 minute left of practice before the actual race session started, as we tried to find a way through Bart there. We were a lot quicker than him on the exit of that corner, but he goes defensive. We're on the racing line again here, braking. Not really learning from our previous lap's mistake, but we've managed to keep it facing forwards here. And right on the back of Bart here. In the draft, even if draft is a thing in these wet weather conditions. And 0.2 of a second is the gap as we head down to Ravazza. There's a car out in the gravel I see ahead, and Bart has gone off the brakes really nice and early for us there. So we're going to be able to take that position, and that's Javier, who was quicker than us and obviously took the position earlier on in this race. He's out there in the gravel, so we've actually made up 2 positions there. So we're currently up to P5, but we're a full 27 seconds ahead of Pedro in P4. So as we reach the halfway stage, I don't think we're going to be able to better results or this position. It's all going to be a matter of managing what we've got now, trying to stay ahead of the guys behind. It's the little bit of lockup, and there was a brakes behind us, massive brakes, and I think that was actually Bart. I know you can't see the rear view camera at the minute, unfortunately, but in the race he just sort of went straight on at that chicane, so he ended up in the gravel, as did Javier. Actually, Javier has dropped back now to almost 12 seconds. But looking at that delta, we're going to be seeing some of the GT4s coming through first very soon. Got Norman, who is only 10 seconds behind, and they do really come up on you really quick, as we didn't really get a very good run there through Tosa. The conditions actually at this point from Jeff were saying that they were starting to get worse, and the rain intensity has increased now to 60%. We started at 55, so it was becoming evident in some of these corners that the lines that we had started to take and we started to learn in these wet conditions were no longer working because of the amount of extra moisture that was on the track. As once again go through Acqua Minerale. At this point I'm trying to take a bit of a tighter line, but it was so difficult. Like, I just wasn't trying to turn and like get out of the puddle and pull to the right hand side. The car just wouldn't turn. Once you get stuck in that puddle, it's really difficult to make the car kind of move and where you want it to go. As we tentatively go through the chicane once more on the run down to Ravazza. And we should be alright here. The GT4's now 5 seconds behind us, but we should be able to get through the final corners here and onto the main straight before they catch up, as they've the leader Norman has now cleared Bart behind. And this is what I mean about the conditions. I just could not get it stopped here in Ravazza. Like, we locked up the brakes, and the experience through there was completely different to the previous 4 laps. So conditions are definitely getting worse here. Track temperature remains at around 19 degrees as Norman is now going to approach us here and overtake us and completely destroy our field of vision here. But I think by the time we get down to the first corners here, I think it's Tamburello, the first corners, we're going to be well clear of the spray, so we're actually going to have a good braking point. But we got a wheel there in that puddle. There was a puddle on the left hand side there where we kind of like going out a little bit too far to the left, and hopefully we managed to keep the car under control. As Dylan now is about to stream past us here, which is going to make breaking into this corner very, very difficult. I can't see anything at all. I think there's an apex there somewhere, but not entirely sure. but we managed to navigate it. A little bit tentative on the exit of Villeneuve just to make sure we're not going to spin up those tyres and lose control, because I wasn't entirely sure where everything was. So, you know, it's always better to play it a little bit safer if you're not sure about these things, and keep it on track and facing forward rather than throw everything away. At this point of the race, John has made his way back up to P8 at this point after his initial incident and having to pit for his repairs. He did have quite the terrible second lap after that incident. He went straight on at the chicane and then had a few more instances where he just could not get the car slowed down. He's saying that he's actually just made a place up to P7. But yeah, certainly not the quickest in these conditions, but I absolutely loved this race. It was hard work, but so rewarding. As we lose it once again on that racing line, and we're going to try and get the car going again before Bart can catch it. We're going to pull though to the outside here, so we're not impeding the apex as the other guys come through. But Bart's got past us now, and we're going to let Adam pass in the GT4. And the GT4 has run a little bit wide there in Ravazza 1. But yeah, like I was saying, really rewarding race for this one. Learned a lot. Like I say, it's just so much fun, like being on the edge. I mean, I don't ever drive on the edge. I'm nowhere near the edge, but in these sorts of conditions, you are constantly on the edge. With your braking, your throttles, your inputs. So yeah, absolutely great fun. As once again we try and get it turned into these corners. Bart was very tight on the apex there, which cost him a little bit of exit speed. So we managed to close up a little bit more. But once again, we know that we are closer than we are faster here than Bart. So just a matter of biding our time, not doing anything silly, picking a sensible place to pass. John is now the car behind me and is only 18 seconds now down the road. So he's had a great recovery here. Obviously we've had a couple of incidents which has slowed us down at the chicane. But yeah, you know, great job by John to come back to 18 seconds. Really good run through there, finding a really good line, and it's certainly paid dividends, as Bart doesn't want to know anything to do with that as we head into Aqua Minerale. He doesn't want to challenge me through there, so he's already conceded the place. And I don't think we went through the deepest of the puddles there, because we've got quite good traction out of that corner. Again, now I'm really tentative at this chicane, having already lost it twice here, so picking my way through ever so nicely. And it looks like John's actually had an incident now. He's dropped almost 30 seconds behind me. So yeah, it looks like he's having more misdemeanors in this one. So down the start-finish straight we go once more. We've got about 2 more laps to run here, looking at the time limit. And we're starting to build that gap again now in ahead of Bart here. The gap is now 3.2. But once again, there's the top drivers here in this class are just absolutely running away with it. Which is fair play to them. We're about 31 seconds behind Pedro. Well, the leader himself, Robin, he is actually 21 seconds ahead of P2, so Robin here in these conditions is just in a completely different class as we get a little bit hot into Villeneuve. But once again, we're just managing to catch the car. We're making tiny mistakes and causing the car to slide in these conditions, but at the same time, they're not major mistakes, and we're able to catch the car, which is the most important thing, I think, to be able to catch it and not like go over the limit, because when that happens then there's no sort of recovery, unfortunately. As we conditions once again getting worse. We've gone up now a couple more percent on the precipitation, up to 62% here. I mean, for forecasted light rain, I think weather forecaster potentially needs to get a new profession. He was massively off with his forecast on this one, that's for sure. Watching this back though, interestingly, like looking, I didn't realise at the time, but I just don't learn from my mistakes. I could see I was on the left-hand side, and if you look really closely, you can actually see on the left there was like a really shiny bit of track, which is the normal racing line, and it's so slippy. So trying to brake on that racing line is just a big no-no, and I just 3 times now in this race I just have not learned from my mistake. But this time, however, we had a big enough gap ahead of Bart for it not to really cost us too much. Once again, we're struggling to get the car turned in, slowed down. But everybody was sort of saying the same thing over the driver chat here, that they're all questioning, you know, is the weather getting heavier? And I think it was absolutely evident that it was. Conditions were getting far worse at this point. But anyway, we're going to take the white flag here to start the final lap of the race. What I like, as I keep saying, what I kind of feel and think to myself was a very, very successful first wet race. We didn't get any damage. Yes, we got a couple of mistakes. I think we ended up with 3 instant points. We'll check that when we see the results. But they were instants for off track and losing control of the car slightly. It wasn't the fact we were bumping into other people through lost control. We were sliding off the track and hitting barriers. We kept it on track for the most point, which is a massive achievement for my first ever wet race. And yeah, like I said, I've really enjoyed it, and I'm really looking forward to doing more of this wet racing on iRacing. Hopefully some races will come up again real soon where we can jump in and get involved in them, because it was great fun. Really was great fun. But up the hill we go. We need to push at this point now. We're far enough ahead, I think, of Bart to be able to take this one where we are in this position. Through the swimming pool of Aqua Minerale for the final time. Very tentatively there, I may add. That was probably the slowest I've been through there all race long, I think. If you look at the left here, this is what I was talking about in the previous race. You just see that really shiny line here. But again, I've got my left tyres on it. We just slightly pull off it at the last minute just to stop ourselves from losing control of the car. Or else we may have even dropped it for a 4th time. But down the hill we go now for the final time, down towards Rivazza. Round the corner. Not getting too greedy. Don't throw it away now, Nick. That'd be very silly, but we're on the final straight now. Going to be a fantastic result. P5 finish. Said was running in P4 for a lot of that, but I think somebody was disconnected. But yeah, it's the BMW flying past right at the death there. But a P5 finish. John actually came home in P8 after that one, after all his unfortunate mistakes. But yeah, There we go, guys. Our very first wet race. Let's go and take a look at the results. This was the one and only split, and the strength of field was 1,922. Overall, we came home in P18, 5th in class. Started 24th, and we was car number 20. Our fastest lap of the race was a 2-minute 31.738. Fastest lap from our class was actually the winner, and he did a 2-minute 22.769. So we were 9 seconds a lap slower than this guy, which is absolutely crazy. But you know what? It was my first ever wet race. So having a look at the MX5 class alone, the top 4 guys were just, yeah. Even Pedro in front was 4 seconds a lap quicker than me on his fastest lap. So other than that, though, we were pretty competitive. We were faster than most. John was 1.5 seconds quicker than me. And Javier did about 1 second quicker than me overall. But yeah, no, that was pretty good for me. I think I'm really pleased with that. But like I said, it's pretty tough when it's your first ever wet race and you need to find the grip and bits and pieces. We had 3 incident points and we have 58 championship points. Our safety rating improves by 0.01, taking us to 3.84. And our iRating improves by 22, taking us to 1,639. So there we go, guys. Overall, a very good race. Really enjoyed that one. Hope you did. Post-commentator as well, which is a bit different. So I may be waffling a bit more than I normally would in a video. But as I wasn't expecting anything from this race, I didn't record it at the time. So, yeah, I decided I would do the post-com. But thank you very much for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider giving it a like. And if you want to see more racing content from me, make sure to hit subscribe because there'll be plenty more coming real soon. If you want to get involved with the action on iRacing, make sure to check out the link in the description, and hopefully I'll see you on track real soon. But as always, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, see ya.